And Whoopi, you have been an AIDS activist since it first became a pandemic over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
At first, so many people were afraid to be associated with AIDS. So what compelled you to speak out actually early on when people were scared of it?
Because I was in Berkeley, California, and in San Francisco, where we had friends, you know, performers, dancers, writers, designers, who suddenly got sick. And got sick in a way that hospitals were dumping them on the streets because they were afraid, because they didn't know what it was or where it had come from. And so friends would gather up, as many people as we could gather up, and you know, put people where they needed to go and try to help as many people as you could. And so years ago, Elizabeth Taylor came to me when I first got famous and said, I'm going to ask you a question, do me a favor, and then if you say no, I'll understand. And I was like, okay, what is it? You're Elizabeth Taylor. What could you ask me that I would say no to? And she said, well, I'm doing a benefit for something called AIDS. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm in. And she's like, wait a minute, did you hear what I said? It's for AIDS. I said, Elizabeth, I'm from I was in San Francisco. We know all about it. Yeah, we're gonna do this. And you know, tried very hard to make the government pay attention. You know, folks were marching and saying, and you know, a lot of folks were saying, you know, this is God's wrath. This wasn't God's wrath. This was a pandemic.
Well, we have something here for you. Since it is World AIDS Day and you have done such incredible work as an ambassador for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, we have a surprise for you. Take a look.
It's not going away. In the world, there's a pandemic. In our, you know, little area, it just keeps getting worse, and the numbers keep increasing. So it's, you know, anything we can do to fight it.
Hey, Whoopi, I just wanted to leave you a message, my fellow ambassador for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to say that even though you and Elizabeth had an amazing friendship, that the thing you shared most, importantly, I feel, was the work that you took up in the 80s. The battle against AIDS all around the world, when the majority of the world chose to ignore it and chose to ignore those who were afflicted with it. So I wanted to thank you on my behalf. I wanted to thank you on behalf of the millions of people around the globe who have been affected not only by AIDS, but of course thereby by your work. Sending my love. Bye.
Hey, Whoopi. In honor of World AIDS Day, I want to say thank you on behalf of all of Elizabeth Taylor's grandchildren. Like you, in the early 80s, our grandmother saw her friends and loved ones suffering and dying from a terrifying disease, which would later become known as AIDS. She knew from the beginning it wasn't only a health crisis, but also a social justice crisis.
Each day around the world, 5,000 people are infected with HIV.
So she fought for her friends and for every person who was being ignored as the pandemic raged on. But she couldn't do it alone. So our grandmother asked her friends to stand with her, and friends like you stood strong by her side. Our grandmother treasured you and your friendship. You've called her your friend who never judged and who led with love. And we know she'd have said the same about you. The world needs people like you more than ever, so we can finally reach an AIDS-free generation. You have opened up your home and your heart to the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. We're forever grateful. And we're not the only ones.
My dear Whoopi, Lionel Richie here, my dear, and let me just tell you, I've been admiring you for many, many, many years. Not only being great friends, but just the fact that you are one of those people that walk your talk. And you spoke up for voices that were silent, for people who were in need. You've been in the forefront of the movements of the world. I am here to hug and kiss you and to adore you with all the rest of those wonderful people there with you, to tell you how much we love you, how much we appreciate you and your voice. God bless you, my dear.
Hi, Whoopi. It's Elton, and I'm so glad to be a part of this surprise. You and I knew Elizabeth Taylor very well. She was an unstoppable force, a champion in the fight against AIDS. She refused to sit on her hands and bite her tongue when so many others around her did. But you, my angel, my extraordinary friend, you stood up. You stood with Elizabeth and lent your voice to the fight when no one else would. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this award than you. and it's an honor to present you with the Elizabeth Taylor Legacy Award. I'm so proud of you, and I know Elizabeth would be too. I love you. Congratulations.
Now, if we could please welcome 4 of Elizabeth Taylor's grandchildren, Quinn, Reese, Eliza, and Tarquin.
Remarkable how much you look like your grandma. Oh. You know? But I hear that you have some big news to announce.
I do, thank you. A little icing on the cake for today. But before, I just want to say one last time, thank you so much for your support, your friendship, as an ambassador. You have been such an endless help to the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, and we cannot thank you enough. So, the little icing.
Okay.
That dinner that you hosted for us a little while ago?
Yeah.
That solidified a partnership with the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. So what that means is that here today, on World AIDS Day, on your show, in your honor, I am so excited to say that we can announce a joint $4 million commitment by the United States government for our support, to support our international work in Malawi. I'm so excited. Yeah. For Whoopi and for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief.
Okay, for more information on how you can help the fight against AIDS, check out our website. And members of our studio audience are going home with a copy of Vanity Fair Icon Special Collector's Edition featuring the great Elizabeth Taylor. We'll be right back.